Hi everyone, it's Fitz with your daily delivery. Hope you had a great Easter. We did. I'm still wearing my Easter themed quarter zip. So you gotta look at me in this bright blue. You'll survive. I hope. That'd be really horrible if you didn't from this. I'm going to talk about something I haven't touched on this channel, and that is the Utah BYU rumors about the Big Ten. I'm going to dig into that in a moment, but I want to tell you that our Big 12 Insiders channel has covered this a bit, and we'll cover it much more with host Brian Big B Hanley. Make sure you're checking out the Big 12 Insiders channel right here on YouTube if you're a Big 12 fan. And this rumor, I believe, is true. I really do. It comes out of the ACC settling their lawsuits and settling in until their next TV contract comes up, which negotiations probably start in 4, maybe 5 years. That's not that far away. And the rumor is that the Big Ten is really coveting North Carolina. It checks all the boxes for them. Big state institution, incredible academic school, new state. Yeah, that's who I always thought would be their number one choice. But who would be the next one? Well, naturally it'd be Notre Dame, but Notre Dame continues to show no interest. And after their success in the playoff this year, which was also a financial success for the school, I don't see them having any interest. They won't go until they're literally forced to do so. How about another ACC school? That makes a lot of sense, but maybe not. Maybe they don't want another school in that area. I thought Virginia is a natural. They check almost every box North Carolina does, with the shortcoming being actual production on the field, but you can't bring in all winners because someone's got to lose the games. But they do have a problem the last expansion created in the Big Ten, and that is a enormous geographical gap between 4 schools on the Pacific coast and Nebraska. That's the next closest school. So I believe that they would be interested in Utah as a bridge between the West Coast and the rest of the conference. It would also help them out with scheduling, giving them another Western school that could be in those late kickoffs. And that is a valuable commodity for conferences to have. It balances them out with 5 there and then kind of 5, 5, and 5 in the other sections of the Big Ten. It really works. It makes a lot of sense. Now let's get to who they would pick. My immediate answer on BYU was they have hesitated on bringing in Notre Dame as a Catholic institution. They have this weird thing about religious schools in the Big Ten, or have had. And they'd have to get over that and get over it in a big way, to be real honest. And I don't see it happening. I see exactly what happened with the Big 12 and BYU before Texas left happening with the Big Ten. The Latter-day Saints just stand for things that these institutions won't allow in. Texas would never allow in BYU. So the fact that they had to share a league with them for a year was pretty satisfying because they had no say in it. The Big Ten isn't going to invite BYU unless there's a huge, dramatic change in the culture of that conference. No. Utah, though, I see it happening. I see them wanting to go, obviously, for 2 reasons. One, they despise the Big 12. It's beneath them. Despite the fact that they've sucked on the field in the sports that matter, it's beneath them. And they feel like they belong academically in the Big Ten. I'm not going to argue that. It's an outstanding academic and research institution. It offers the Big Ten that bridge. And it solves a problem for the Big 12. And that problem is Utah. You have 15 schools that are bought in. In fact, BYU fans, knowing that the Big Ten would be better financially for their conference, kind of don't want to leave the Big 12. I sense this because they feel like they finally found a home where they're welcome. Because all we really care about is, are you good people and do you contribute athletically to this conference? Yes, they do. That's what's important. And I don't think the Big 12, even going down to the conference office in Dallas, feels that way about Utah. They've been snippy and sometimes childish about being in the Big 12. And I think a separation is inevitable at some point. They don't want to be in the Big 12. And I think they belong in the Big 12. But if they have an exit, they will take it. And the Big 12 probably won't complain too much. They'll take the buyout money, but they won't complain. And if the ACC is going to come apart, they'll probably try to go add 5 key schools from the ACC to get to 20. And it also gives them a solid 4 schools out west and kind of does the same thing, but in increments of 4 with this conference, being the old Big 8 being 4, the Texas schools being 4, out west 4, And then you probably can break that East Coast into 2 groups of 4. So everyone might be happy with this. Timetable isn't anytime soon, although talks might be already starting. We don't know. But yeah, I believe this, and I think Utah would be a great fit academically for the Big Ten. But I want to warn Utah fans, Nebraska did not survive this move. It has been more than 10 years since Nebraska joined that conference, and after some good years after leaving the Big 12, they have stunk. I think Matt Rule will get them going, but they abandoned their recruiting areas, mostly Texas, and they also made it difficult for their fans to get out and go to games, which is a huge thing. I can't imagine being a Utah fan wanting to go to road games in the Big Ten when your next closest institution is in LA. Doesn't make sense to me, but a Utah wants out. And I'm telling you what, just be careful. I'm not going to complain if you leave, but if you leave, there's going to be consequences. And I think you suffered some of those consequences by joining the Big 12. You lost your footing. You lost your mojo. If you think you're going to find it in the Big Ten, I got some friends in Lincoln that want to talk to you.